bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's sad, take a look at what happened.
How did we get here? How is it possible in today's era of high-tech surveillance and highly skilled professional services, like the FBI and CIA, we have a 20-year-old nearly able to assassinate the former president of the United States? Seems like it was one of the greatest catastrophic system failures of our time. Or was it? Let's go back in time and hear the majority Senate leader give another possible option.
But he's taking these shots, this antagonism, this taunting to the intelligence community.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
The statement is astounding in of itself, as Schumer clearly admits that our intelligence agencies are rogue. Under our system of government, every federal agency falls under the executive branch and serves at the behest of the president, the official that we, the people, elected. This is sounding like there is a deep state that operates outside of Congress and the executive branch. And in this particular clip, Schumer and Rachel Maddow refer to how these agencies are upset about the former president. And Schumer then says, in a very ominous way, he does not know what they, specifically these rogue agencies, would do. Let's hear what Tucker Carlson said when he was on the Adam Carolla show.
I don't know.
I mean, are they going to let Trump be president?
No, of course. I mean, look, if, they protested him, they called him names. He won anyway. They impeached him twice on ridiculous pretenses. They fabricated a lot about what happened on January 6th in order to impeach him again. It didn't work. He came back. Then they indicted him. It didn't work. He became more popular. Then they indicted him 3 more times, and every single time his popularity rose. So if you begin with criticism, then you go to protest, then you go to impeachment, now you go to indictment, and none of them work, what's next? I mean, graph it out, man. We're speeding toward assassination, obviously.
Today, we have the narrative that the assassination against the former president was nothing more than a botched attempt by a 20-year-old who did this all on his own. However, over the recent weeks, there is a lot of facts that are really bringing into question that the attempted assassination was far more than a failure of the Secret Service and the other agencies sworn to protect our former president. While looking to become informed about what had happened at the Trump rally on July 13th, we come across the following YouTube clip, which was a bit shocking. In the clip, we are confronted with the question, did somebody have advance notice that an assassination of Trump was going to happen?
Investment firm that allegedly put options on 12 million Trump stocks the day before assassination attempt blames filing error. Rothschilds, BlackRock, Vanguard, Meta, George Bush, and Cheney family among the top investors. So check this out. To make things even more interesting, source tipped this gentleman, Champagne Joshioff, to the fact that on Bloomberg, at first, during the day, there is Austin Private Wealth LLC and that huge, enormous trade. And then fast forward to after, oopsie, got his ear, not his brain. They're gone. It's amazing. Look at it. They're gone. They're gone.
If you don't know what shorting the market is, it is simply paying someone a premium to hold their stock for a limited period. If the stock price falls during the period in which you are holding it, then the person who paid the premium to will buy back the stocks from you at the original price. Let's say you shorted Truth Social stock on Friday, July 12th, when its price was $30 a share. Then Trump is assassinated on July 13th. When you wake up on Monday, you see that the stock is at $10. You just made $20 per share. Shorting a stock is a fantastic way to become mega rich, especially if you have advance notice of an impeding event like shorting the airlines whose planes flew into the World Trade Center. If that was the only oddity, then perhaps the conspiracy theory nuts can be simply dismissed. However, as we looked into this more, the more we found ourselves questioning the truth of what really happened on the fateful day. The following is a clip of a spectator at the event who seems utterly unaffected by gunfire.
Speaking of questionable things, there is another clip that has many people asking questions. A woman at the rally was standing behind Trump and appears to have been bracing for something before any shots were fired, and she seemed quite unfazed.
Watch this, dude. Watch. Watch. She sits down. Yep. Watch this. Puts the sign up.
Take a look at what happened.
Shots go off.
She's completely normal. And then watch.
And then she's got her.
What the fuck?
We searched out other videos on this spectator and found this clip, which provided a bit more clarity. She was not holding a sign, and you can see the phone already in her hand prior to the shots. So go check out that video with the link below.
A gunman opened fire in the direction of U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump. The former president sustained an injury while the event claimed the life of an attendee named Corey Comparatore. While the incident was being covered all over media and social media, some viewers noticed this woman behind Donald Trump. More specifically, they noticed that her body language felt out of place. And the internet being what it is, there are a ton of theories flying around as to who she is and exactly what she's doing there based on this body language.
Additionally, there is speculation that the woman is allegedly Janine D. Giuseppe, the assistant director to the FBI. I only mention this as we need to be careful and see if the facts prove the assumptions. Beyond that caution, I cannot but be utterly amazed how common focused she was. Seriously, she just wrecked the definition of nerves of steel. She just made John Wick look like a second-rate amateur in how to handle yourself when the bullets are flying. But enough about her. Next, there is so much more to this rabbit hole. Here we have another video in which this person is explaining that the sounds of the gunshots fired to assassinate the former president don't match up to the one-shooter theory. We know that the assassin only had one gun, so why do we hear two distinct sounds? The first 3 shots are clearly different from the second 3 shots. Let's listen.
And then that one more. That's the 6 I'm unclear on. Let's listen to this again. Muffled. And then, right? That's what I hear. Oh.
I can tell you.
Based on an article written by Maurice DuBois and published by CBS News, we have a timeline of the shots fired on that terrible day. 6:11, 33 seconds. First shot fired. At 6:11, 34 seconds. 2 more shots fired. At 6:11, 37 seconds. Several rapid gunshots are heard. At 6:11, 48 seconds. Secret Service snipers take a final shot, which is heard 15 seconds later. If the lone gunman fired 6 shots, then it would be easy to verify by counting the spent brass cartridges ejected from the gun that would be in the vicinity. If we look at the scene from where the gunman was killed, we see he is in the middle of a large roof. The spent shell should be easy to find. Let's hope there are 6 brass casings there. Another glaring issue, when we see the footage from the Sky News helicopter, is a ladder standing up against the side of the building, which seems to align to the assassin's path to get on the roof. This is a big ladder. How did this get overlooked? I mean, really, did the police bring it after the assassin was shot to get on the roof? Then where are the agents and officers? Very odd indeed. Now let's look at the mock-up by ABC and where they positioned the assassin.
Tonight trying to determine whether roof access had been properly locked down. The shooter climbing seemingly unimpeded.
Based on this video, we note where the position of the would-be killer, which is on the far right side of the roof. This is strange, as the gunman was killed more on the left side of the building's roof. Was this an error? Let's get back to this question in a little bit. Here you see a picture of the service agents standing around the body of the gunman. Why is this important? Do the agents look like they are wearing magnetic boots or protective straps to assure their safety from sliding off the roof? In a story by James Lynch that was published in the National Review, the Secret Service director has a bizarre explanation for the agency's failure to secure the rooftop used by the shooter, who attempted to assassinate the former president. Quote, "That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point, and so you know there's a safety factor that would be considered there, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof." Unquote. Look at where the Secret Service was placed to protect the former president. This is a sloped roof, but does it look dangerous? Now let's look at the sloped roof again where the assassin was killed, with law enforcement standing near the body. Wow. I mean, her comment was really bizarre. In baseball, we would call this strike two. Are we thinking conspiracy yet? Come on, lady. Those are not the answers we are wanting to hear. But things still get even more crazy. I mean, when they say life is crazier than fiction, you can't make this stuff up. You couldn't write this stuff and try to get it published. Any publishing house worth its weight in salt would throw you out if you came in with a manuscript describing the nuances of the former president's rally. A story by cited GUNMAN and Aruna Viswanathan that was in the Wall Street Journal has been reported that supposedly the assassin flew a drone hours before the event in order to scout out his best options. Okay, where were the aerial drones that the Secret Service or some other agency should be flying? What? No one thought to bring drones? Or did they? But no one was certified to fly them. Come on. When using Google Earth, we have an overview of the venue. On the right side of the fairgrounds, there's a water tower, which would provide an unobstructed view of the former president while he is on the stage. I mean, if there was a plot to assassinate the former president from the water tower, would a drone be optimal to cover it? Oh wait, there are people spreading a video saying that there's a person on top of the water tower during the shooting.
Steps in and steps back. And right after the shots are fired, step right before, and then right after the shots are fired, 4 seconds after, steps back. Watch.
Chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Honestly, it is hard to know what was going on the water tower. But regardless, a drone patrolling the site would have easily figured that out. So no one from the law enforcement or the Secret Service used drones to secure the event? Come on, the Secret Service can't be that incompetent. Well, based on another report, we find out that Josh Hawley, the senator from Missouri, was informed by whistleblowers soon after the assassination attempt that most of the agents securing the area were from another Department of Homeland Security.
And this came out from Josh Hawley, a senator who tells us that there was a whistleblower who is now explaining what actually happened. And so Hawley sent this one out to the X universe. And it says that whistleblowers tell me that most of Trump's security detail working the event last Saturday, J13, were not even Secret Service. It was some other group from Homeland. Department of Homeland Security assigned unprepared and inexperienced personnel.
You've got to be kidding. But with each layer of the onion peeled back, I find myself asking how many more times I'm going to say, you've got to be kidding. Moving on. Do you know there were a number of people attending the event who spotted the would-be assassin on the roof minutes before the shooting? In the following clip, you can hear concerned people telling security there's a person while pointing at the assassin crawling up on the roof.
He's laying down. You see him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
And son, I'm here with you fighting like hell to get a Senate.
What's happening?
And to make sure we take back the White House, because if we do, we're going to make America better than ever before. We're going to make it.
Yeah, look. There he is.
Easy, because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people. Criminals. We have criminals.
He's
we
on
have
the roof. He's right.
We have people that should not be here.
Right on the roof.
It's much tougher than it happens.
He went right on the roof again.
This happened minutes before the first shot, and no one on the security detail to protect the former president thought to inform him not to go on stage. Or pull Trump off the stage knowing there's an active threat in the vicinity? Unbelievable.
Told you not to take the stage?
No, nobody mentioned it. Nobody said there was a problem. And I would have waited for 15. They could have said, let's wait for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, something. Nobody said, I think that was a mistake.
Now we come to the most serious piece of information about the attempted assassination that unfolded on July 13th. The video from the Sky News helicopter that we looked at earlier. It shows where the assassin's body lay dead on the roof. It was on the left side of the roof. But in the preceding mock-up of the assassination's position on the roof shows the gunman on the right side of the roof. Why? I'm not sure, but the following video really questions the whole theory that the gunman acted alone.
That's one of the things that is hard, for me to reconcile, is the position where they're putting him. So now we have two different news organizations putting him to the far right of the first floor window. And then I saw a image where his deceased body, and this image was from ABC News. It shows his body to the left of that one floor building. And so I had thought that that the Secret Service had taken him out with a single shot to the head in the position they was shooting. So my question was, why were news organizations showing him to the far right on that one-story building? So what I did, the best that I could do with the tool set that I had available, is I started taking snapshots of Trump's speech to the point where I became very close to the moment in time before he was shot and the very moment that he was shot. And so I tried my best to capture the orientation of his head. Now, there are a couple of problems with me capturing it the way that I did, in that I don't know what the frame speed was of the original image, taking the orientation of his head. And then you have the frame speed of the image that's showing that. And then there's some skew in, the different measurements. So what I did is I took 5 different measurements, and from those 5 different measurements, I drew lines and extrapolated from the orientation of Trump's head out to the unknown, out to the right. And so what I did is I dropped the line to the left, I dropped the line to the right, and I came to an average. When I came to an average, it pointed at the position that the news organizations were saying that Crooks was in, not to the actual position where his body was discovered. So that confused me even more. And so I started looking for video to see, because the images I were looking at were just the Google Maps, where they really don't give you any elevation of the building. So given my lines were going to the position that the news organizations were placing him, I wanted to determine, what is below that, because certainly there can't be 2 shooters on that roof, one in the position where all the news organizations are putting him in, and then the other position where his body was found. And so we go to the next slide to again show that his body is indeed to the far right. And so then finally the slide number 6, where I have the white line and the yellow line. The white line represents the calculated trajectory that I could do from Crook's shooting position, which is where his dead body was. And as I drew the line to the left, I discovered from video from Sky News, helicopter video, that there's a second floor window that perfectly lines up with that trajectory. And not only is there a second floor window, but the video footage clearly shows that that second floor window is open. And so now if we go to slide number 7, you can see in that red dotted rectangle that window is open, and anyone can go to Sky News helicopter video showing Crook's body. And as the helicopter swings around, it's very clear to see that the window opens outward, and the glass and the frame of the glass are indeed opened outward. And so that kind of shocked me because common sense would say that you wouldn't want to leave an elevated window that's open with a clear line to a presidential candidate unsecured. And so that's what that is that's an elevated position, a second floor window with a direct line of sight of President Trump speaking at the podium. And the line just happens to line up directly to that open window. And so that was kind of disconcerting because, you know, who would do that? Who would leave such a position open and unprotected? But apparently they did.
To validate what the person described about the second floor window on the second building, we added the link below to the Sky News footage. Then they go through and validate that the second floor window was elevated enough to have a clear line of sight on the former president as he is addressing the crowd on the stage.
Out. And so the next slide shows the scale of the first building that had Crook's body on it to the second building. And so what I did is I took a measurement of how tall the first building was up to the roof line. And then I colored that same rectangle purple and I stacked them to show that indeed that second window, as you can see, the shadow on that window, it's definitely open. That window is elevated over that roof so that shots could go through it. And the one thing you can see is immediately to the right, there's a tree. So again, if there's a counterterrorism sniper team in that window, why would they pick a place to perch that has a tree immediately to their right that shields them from a significant field of view that they would want to be covering? So it wouldn't make sense to me, but I'm a novice, that a sniper team would be in that window as a point of protection. But it certainly does concern me that that window was open and in a building that the Secret Service has described as unsecured.
I find the case for a second shooter starts to seem like a possibility. Then the analyst in the video further explains that he searched online to see if there were any other videos that would confirm his hypothesis of a second shooter.
So then I looked to see, well, is there anyone else seeing the same thing? So I saw this excellent video, now in slide 13, created by AI Telly. As you can see, they put the shooter again to the far right. And then they do the trajectory of his shots. And especially the shot that hits Trump's ear. And so that's the next shot. It shows that it's 137 meters, 450 feet. The window would be a little bit further behind that. And so then they show the perspective from the sniper in that position. And indeed, the tree that we saw in the earlier thing is to the right. It does not interfere with the line of sight to Trump's position.
And now, let's review the shot pattern again.
And then that one more. That's the 6 I'm unclear on. Let's listen to this again. Muffled, and then right? That's what I hear. Ooh.
I can tell you this.
Holy smokes. The analysis of these average citizens is amazing. Are they right? Again, these are all the assumptions based on the information that they have gleaned from various news and YouTube video sources. So what do we know for sure? The gunman was spotted on the roof minutes before the first shot was fired. No one warned the former president that there was a possible threat or that no one took action to remove him from the stage. There is a possible FBI assistant director with nerves of steel videotaping the tragedy. There's a large ladder that looks like the gunman used to get on the roof. Was it placed there after the shooting so agents could get on the roof? But where are the agents? A whistleblower is saying many of the agents on Trump's detail were not from the Secret Service. It appears Secret Service didn't have drones flying during the event. The second building with that second floor window was clearly open and supposedly was not secured. Seems like the second window of the building is open from that vantage point. There's a clear line of sight where the former president was speaking. The sound audio appears to capture 2 distinct firing patterns and sounds. The FBI director gave a lame reason why the roof of the building was not secure. There were other oddities about the day and about the gunman that can take us deeper down the rabbit hole. Please click on the links of the different sites that we used to compile this summary. Lastly, for us, here at The Vote Matters, we felt compelled to dive deeper into this event. It was concerning that a former president and the Republican nominee running for the office of the presidency was nearly killed. Such events turn good men and women from running for office. They don't want to take the mantle of being a representative, as they see the risk is too high. In essence, the voice of the people becomes more silenced out of justified fears, as no one will run for office, feeling that they too might become a target. We are living in turbulent times, and the fate of our republic must not waver from an assassin's bullet. We must not let fear halt us from forming a more perfect union in which our government is of the people, by the people, and for the people.